Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about Amy Schumer because she has completely lost it since hosting the Oscars. She has not been handling the slap very well. You know, some people think Will Smith committed career suicide by doing that, but I think he'll be just fine. I think Amy's the one that needs to be worried. Somehow she managed to come out of all this looking worse than Will, and I know people already didn't like her because they didn't think she was funny or because she was stealing jokes. But now I feel like people have even more of a reason to not like her. And also, she at least used to have a good amount of people defending her. And if you criticized her, you know, people would call you sexist. And they'd act like everyone who hates her just hates her because she's a woman. But now I think those people defending her have given up because people are just getting sick of her and no one really wants to defend her behavior anymore. Especially with this meltdown that she's having about how her Oscar night was ruined. Her comments on it are so embarrassing. If you haven't seen this yet, she posted this on Instagram, I think. She said, "I think we can all agree that the best way to unpack what happened is to stream my series at Life and Beth Hulu and see me on tour this fall." So she's using this post where she's commenting on the Will Smith and Chris Rock incident to promote her show and her tour dates in the beginning. Like, this post is hilarious. She goes from promoting her series and her tour dates to talking about being traumatized and triggered by a slap. Like, this might be one of the funniest things she's ever said. Like, just listen to this. After she talks about going on tour, she says, "But for real, still triggered and traumatized. I love my friend Chris Rock and believe he handled it like a pro. Stayed up there and gave an Oscar to his friend Questlove, and the whole thing was so disturbing. So much pain in Will Smith. Anyway, I'm still in shock and stunned and sad. I'm proud of myself and my co-hosts. But yeah, waiting for the sickening feeling to go away from what we all witnessed." It's insane how out of touch she is. Like, it was a slap. You're really gonna act like this over a slap? It's really not that big of a deal. I mean, what Will Smith did was stupid. He's an idiot for doing that. But it's not like the worst thing in the world. If you're traumatized by that, then you should probably not even go outside because you're gonna see a lot worse stuff than that. I mean, go hang out at a bar. Eventually you're going to see someone get slapped or hit. And it's stupid to act like the Oscars are some classy, elegant event. You know, obviously all these celebrities think it is, but they're handing awards to Harvey Weinstein not too long ago. So it's not the classiest event ever. And also, nobody even cares about him that much at this point. No one really pays attention to it. Nobody really cares who wins. So this slap, that was a good thing for the Oscars. At least it gets people talking about him. But of course, it ruined Amy Schumer's night. That just sucks. That's what we're all worried about here. Like, of course, she has to make it all about herself, talking about how she's traumatized and triggered and how her and her co-host handled it well. And she just makes it seem like Will pretty much ruined everything and she barely was able to get by that night. There's no way she was traumatized or she's in shock from that slap. She's just mad that it happened while she was hosting, and it took away from her night and people paying attention to her as a host. So now she's mad and she wants to get the attention from this slap. You know, it's got to be part of her jokes now because she commented on it again during one of her stand-up routines the other day in Vegas, I think, and she just made herself look like an idiot here because she just got done talking about how she was triggered and traumatized by a slap, and now she's talking about how there was a joke that she wasn't allowed to say at the Oscars that referenced Alec Baldwin accidentally shooting and killing that cinematographer. She said, "Don't Look Up" is the name of a movie, more like "Don't Look Down the Barrel of Alec Baldwin's Shotgun." I wasn't allowed to say any of that, but you can just come up and slap someone. See, it sounds like she's just really upset with what happened at the Oscars. You know, she's not traumatized or triggered by any of it. Well, I guess she is triggered, but she's just angry. You know, she hates Will Smith for ruining her night. And also, it just makes no sense for you to say that you're disturbed by that slap and it's traumatizing, yet you want to make this joke about some innocent lady who died, who still has a family, obviously. So I just feel like if you're somebody who has no problem telling that joke, then you should be somebody that can handle a guy getting slapped in front of you. And also, this joke that she wanted to tell, it's not even a good joke. It's terrible. That's probably why they didn't want her to use it. Well, actually, that doesn't even make sense because if they didn't want to hear shitty jokes, then they wouldn't have hired her. I really don't think there are many people that find her funny anymore. And obviously, a lot of people never found her funny. But I think even the people that were fans of her back during, like, Trainwreck, that movie, I think people are just, like, done with her. I think her whole shtick of being a whore is getting old. Like, check out her new comedy tour. It's called Amy Schumer Horror Tour. Wow, never could have saw that coming. I honestly probably could have guessed that if you made me guess what her comedy show is going to be called. And look how many likes this has. 400 likes. She's got like 4 million Twitter followers, and she only has 400 likes. And then in the comments, it's just people ratioing her pretty badly. Like this guy just tweeted, I always wanted to ratio Amy Schumer. Boom, 14,000 likes. People just love hating on her. Like, look at this tweet right when she got to the Oscars. Amy Schumer has arrived, and we're all hoping she leaves soon. And that got 235,000 likes. That is not good. But on the bright side, people find her funny, even though she's the butt of the joke. And honestly, she should have been happy about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, because then at least people will stop paying attention to how unfunny she was. Because I think that was about to be the biggest takeaway of the Oscars, which, of course, I mean, anybody could have predicted that. And, you know, maybe she does get too much hate, but honestly, I think she brings it all on herself. Like, just how she handled the Oscars, it's just stupid to act like that. Like, you're all sensitive, and this was, like, the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Yet you tell extremely offensive jokes. Like, in the past, she's told some pretty offensive jokes by today's standards. So it's annoying to act like you're all sensitive and proper if you're making really offensive jokes. And she's always been like this. I remember, like, 5 or 6 years ago, there's this kid who's a movie critic. Well, he's like 17 at the time, I think, and he took a picture with Amy Schumer, and he posted it to his social media and captioned it, "Spent the night with Amy Schumer." Certainly not the first guy to write that. And then Amy Schumer responded to him and said, "I get it, 'cause I'm a whore. Glad I took a photo with you. Hi to your dad." And then he deleted the tweet, and he apologized. Like, her whole shtick is that she's a whore. You know, everything she does, that's like the joke. In the movies, that's what she plays. That's the character she plays. So he's just playing into the joke. He's joking around with her. You know, he's not that serious. It's so stupid. And she gets all offended by it, and he has to apologize for it. And I understand, just because you joke about something about yourself, that doesn't mean someone else can. But if you're a really famous stand-up comedian, I feel like you should have thicker skin than this. And this is her whole image. Like, her whole thing is that she's a slut or whatever. So it seems like people joking about it like this is something that you would want. And it's just one stupid caption from some 16 or 17-year-old who isn't even like that popular. It's not that big of a deal. So I think she's just way too sensitive. Well, she acts sensitive, but then in reality, who knows? I mean, she wanted to tell a joke about how Alec Baldwin accidentally killed that cinematographer. You didn't think that was off limits, but you're traumatized by a slap, and you get all defensive about some kid who's joking around about your whole image of being a whore. Like, where do you draw the line? And also the whole joke stealing thing. There are hours of YouTube videos dedicated to how she was taking people's jokes. And some of it, you could be like, all right, yeah. I mean, obviously people copy each other in comedy once in a while. Like, most jokes have been made at this point, like with music. So you're going to run into something like that. But with her, there's just so much of it. And some of them are just too similar. And there's this video I want to play. One of her writers went on Joe Rogan, and he was trying to defend her from, like, stealing jokes. Well, him stealing jokes too, because he's one of the writers, and he just did not do a good job of it.
But you're arguing against someone who's not even here.
Well,
right?
I was trying to bring up why they were going at me. That's why.
But the problem with what you're saying is they have evidence. They're looking at one bit, and it's exactly the same as another bit.
If I look at the evidence and I come to a different conclusion, let's go with my conclusion, because I was there at the show.
What about due process?
And the guys who are saying it,
there's a due process guy.
That's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough to convince someone. Oh,
dude,
just trust me.
Do you think we in the writers' room?
But isn't that like some authoritative?
See, doesn't he do a good job of clearing things up? Just trust me. That's pretty much what he has to say here. And he's so defensive. This is not helping your case. This is probably only making you look even worse. You know, maybe you didn't steal the jokes, but you got to do a better job of defending yourself than this. Like, it's obviously got to you.
I'm watching this video. I'm watching these jokes. They're being repeated. You're saying, just trust me,
what
you're wrong.
Jokes are you talking? I'm talking about sketches people claimed were taken, which is nonsense. I was in the room. I was the fucking cop of the room with that shit.
Okay, but that doesn't mean anything.
No one watched Mad TV in the room. Sorry.
Stop. That doesn't mean anything, because the bit still got on the air. But if they see the evidence, right? You have to You have to be real clear and non-confrontational when you're handling something like that.
But, dude, I won't. First of all, number one, the larger issue is I never should be on social media talking to any of these fucks at all, explaining it. I don't owe any of you, anybody listening, if you have a question or a judgment, I don't owe you an explanation for shit.
I understand.
I don't know where the fuck you got the idea that I do.
Yeah, so this guy definitely does not do Amy any favors in terms of proving that her jokes aren't stolen. I think he'd do a better job if he just didn't even talk about it at all or didn't even address it. I don't know what's with these comedians. Some of them are just so sensitive. Like, if you make fun of other people for a living, I think you should be able to take it back once in a while. I mean, dude, you're really letting this get to you that badly? And how does he not realize that he's admitting that he's letting this get to him? Like, now everyone who's been talking shit to you knows that it's affecting you. Alright, so that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave me a comment and then hit that like button, then hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.